Hello, welcome back to Steak Insanity. My name is David and this is my channel where I talk about my carnivore diet. It's been a few days since I've done an update. I have done some social content and I've done some little short clips and stuff, but since I've done an actual update on my diet, it's been a few days. So I wanted to catch everybody up on where we are now. I think the last update I did was day 8, so that was the 8th. Right, before we get into that, just quickly, stats for nerds. I learned something really interesting because I have this Super Wizzy scale that I use that measures body fat and bone weight and visceral fat and all sorts of stuff. And I've had it from the beginning, and I've only ever really used the body fat function that's on it. I've never really kept track of anything else other than weight and body fat, but it does stuff like it does my body water percentage, it does visceral fat, it does muscle weight, and all sorts of stuff. So I started digging into that the other day, and a few people have made comments saying, "Oh, don't keep track of anything. Just eat when you're hungry, and that's all you need to do, and weigh yourself once a week." But no, I think in the beginning in particular you should, and if you've never done a diet like this before, I think 100% absolutely you should track as much as you possibly can. If you just have a scale and you just, fine, track your weight. But if you have, I don't know what's on Apple. I have a Samsung phone and it has Samsung Health on it. And in Samsung Health, I can track my steps. I can track all my exercise. I'm like a Samsung fanboy, kind of like people are Apple, so I have a watch as well. So the watch tracks my steps, it tracks my heart rate, it tracks my body temperature, it tracks all that stuff, it tracks my sleep. But it also links into health, which is where I put what I eat. So every time I have a meal, I log everything that I eat as close as possible. It's not always exact, but as close as possible as I can. And what that gives me is my calories at the end of the day. And what you can see is it gives you a breakdown. I don't know if you can see that, but it gives me a breakdown of my macros. So I get my carbs, my fat, and my protein, and this is where I get all my numbers from. I haven't been keeping track of stuff like my hydration percent, my visceral fat, and my muscle percent, just because I hadn't really thought about it. So this morning, and there is a point to all this, so this morning I added, in addition to the macros that I do, I added my body fat percentage. Sorry, I had my body fat percentage. I added my hydration percent, so my percent water. I added my visceral fat. I think that's in pounds, or it's a number anyway. It's just a number. And I added my muscle percentage as well. And then what I did is I went online and I looked up for someone who's in their mid-50s what those numbers should be, and I now have a gauge to know where I am against those. So I want to dig into the stats a little bit because I learned something really interesting that I was not expecting. I know I've talked a lot about the weight in the beginning. When you lose that first those first 7 to 10 days, you tend to lose a lot of weight and then you plateau. And sometimes you think that's water weight or whatever. Interestingly enough, my hydration has actually gone up, not down, up, since I started the diet. And the more weight I lose, the more my hydration percent goes up. Now my body fat percent is going down as well, so I wonder if that's just a function of losing the fat, and because just the way the math works, that essentially my hydration is staying at the same level, but because I'm losing fat, it means I'm balancing it out with water somehow. But I was not expecting that. And I think this is one of the key reasons why it's important for everybody to track all of this sort of stuff. Even if you don't do it every day, do it for a little while so you start to understand how all this stuff works and how you feel. And, you know, what sort of impact does it have when you only have 5 hours of sleep versus when you have 8 hours of sleep, or when you have, you know, when you do some exercise versus when you don't, and how many calories you have versus, you know, when you don't, and what you eat and how much fat. Like, all of it kind of makes sense. You don't need to look at it and try and figure it out every single time. But what you should do is you should look at it over time and look for trends. I've been doing this for a long time. I've done it since 2018. So when I started my original carnivore diet that I didn't talk about, and, you know, I basically nearly had a heart attack. I was much more overweight than I am now. And I just thought, if I don't do something, I'm literally going to die. And I just thought, the only way I'm going to be able to do this, I need to just keep track of my weight. I need to keep track of what I eat and how many steps. And this thing has grown from there to me tracking all my macros and, you know, how far I run and what my time was and what my average 5K time was, and all my notes and a bunch of other stuff that I now track in my life, all in the same spreadsheet. So, but from doing that, it's really given me a good understanding of how my body reacts to different things. And when I do things like the Lion Diet, it really helps me just reinforce that and to understand, is my body still reacting in the same way? And so I think it's important, and that's why I talk about it. And I know sometimes it's boring and people don't want to listen to that. And a lot of people, again, will probably tell me in the comments, oh, you know, I can't be bothered. I don't want to do that. I just want to you know, eat when I'm hungry, and that's all I do. And you know what, man, if that works for you, that's totally fine. But I think there's a whole bunch of people out there who, particularly if you're just getting started, and, you know, it's what, the 11th today. So a lot of people will be 11 days into their diet now. And they're going to start getting to that point where it's a little more difficult. Depends on how much you have, if you're trying to lose weight, and how much you have to lose, of course. If you're starting and you're 485 pounds or you're 435 pounds, you know, you can lose 20 pounds in a week, a few weeks in a row. And you're going to be able to continue that for a while, even as your body adjusts. You've got a lot more that you can use and a lot more energy your body can lose. If somebody wants to lose 15 pounds because they're already fairly slim, but they just want to trim down a bit, it's going to be harder for them because their body's already more efficient. But yeah, anyway, that's my little soapbox. And this is why I talk about the stats. But the long and the short of it is, over the last few days, I started out on the 8th, I was 98.2, then I dropped to 97.7. Perfect. Stayed at 97.7. Then I was 98.3 again when I woke up this morning, which is what prompted me to look at all the numbers and to start saying, well, is this water weight or what's going on? And I haven't been to the gym in a few days, and maybe that has something to do with it. And yeah, I thought it was really surprising. And I'm not concerned because this is what happens. I just thought it was interesting. So it did prompt me to go to the gym though. So I have been to the gym today, and I have good news about the trip to the gym today. And you'll see probably on the channel as well. I'll post a short about it. I did a short video while I was running, but I was able to run 5K today. I did stop a couple of times just to have a little rest for a few seconds and then keep going. But that's progress, because I haven't been able to do that for months. And my knee, fingers crossed, held up okay this time. And I think there were a few things that I was trying to do different. I was trying to change the way I run, because I'm a very strong heel striker, and I was trying to change that to stop doing that. But I think that wasn't helping me, because as I was running tonight, I realized that I was kind of running the way I used to. And then as soon as I started trying to do more forward foot striking, my knee started to hurt a little bit. So I said, okay, I'm just going to go back. So that's fine. That doesn't work on the road, but it works on a treadmill, which is where I run 99% of the time. So I'm just going to focus on doing my cardio on a treadmill. I'm not going to go back to doing the mad running that I used to do. But if I can just get to the point where I can get my 5K time down to a half an hour, then that's perfect. So I can go in, I can do half an hour of cardio, get a 5K in, done. And then I can get on with my life and I can go lift weights or do something else. So just being able to run 5K again was a major accomplishment. So I'm really happy about that. I did today have a minor cheat day, which I'm not proud of, but considering I could have gone off the rails and had croissants and coffee and sugar and all that sort of stuff, I didn't. I had crispy duck. So that's about as bad as it gets. And I had some cucumbers and some onions with it. And I did have like 2 of the sort of wraps that come with it. So as far as a cheat day goes, could have been much worse, but still a cheat day. But anyway, no excuses. I wanted to have a little bit of something just for me, for my mental health, to have a little bit of a break. So I did. Back on the diet tomorrow, no problems, and we'll crack on. I'm going to try and be in the gym again, and we'll see how that goes also. But yeah, that was the main thing. I mean, really over the past couple of days, I've just been working a lot. It's been very cold, and because I ride a motorcycle when it's super cold, like below zero, like it's been -4. And for people in the US, that's like 24 degrees. And when it's 24 degrees and you've got frost on the road or snow on the road, I'm not up for it. I do have some reasonable limits. I'm older, I'm a little bit risk averse, so I'm just like, nah. And so my wife's been taking me to work, which meant that, anyway, I haven't been going to the gym, but I was able to go today. So I'm going to try and keep that up as well. And I'll try and be more current with the daily updates as well. I did get some content out in between. Oh, the other thing that I have to do is I did have the interview with Susie Willows. And so I've got that, and I've been editing that already. I have a draft. I just need to send it to her. As long as she's happy with it, then I'll go ahead and post that on the channel as well. So she's the nutritionist who talks about metabolic typing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send some hair. She's going to send me some stuff, and as soon as I get it, I'm going to give them a hair sample, and then they're going to do the test, and then Susie's going to come back on once we've got the results, and she's going to talk through the results with me so we can all learn together, because I have no idea what it's going to come back and say. So that should be interesting, and hopefully you guys will find that interesting as well. So look for that in the next day or two. And I think that's pretty much it for me for the evening. I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to down tools, and I'm going to go watch some UFC. So everybody have a good night. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. If you know anybody else who's doing a low, keto diet, carnivore, lion, anything like that, please refer them to the channel, because I can use as many subscribers and as many watch hours as I can get at the minute. So yeah, anyway, thanks for that, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.